Our Free and Equal segment tonight, 4 black teenagers in Chicago have been arrested and charged with a hate crime after holding a white man with special needs against his will, torturing him, and live streaming the abuse on Facebook Live. While they inflicted their torture, they screamed things like F Donald Trump and F white people. Now, I want to warn you before we show this to you, this video, it's sickening, it's horrifying, it makes me sick to my stomach to watch it, but Facebook yanked it offline, so here it is.
Good, bro. It's a little cut, bro. We doing something right now, boy. We ain't handling his ass later. You shouldn't have did that, bro. If the police find it, they gonna touch that blood, bro. Yo, that's your blood, bro.
Yo, bro, great.
Cut this shit. Cut no.
Why
No, cause I got my blood on this shit, bro. Hey, cut this off.
Shit, boy. I'm finna make on butt ass nigga. What the fuck you talking about, nigga? What you talking about, nigga?
Damn, G4, your ass, folk.
He put you on. Look, why are you trying to cut my...
Donald Trump.
Joining me now, conservative activist Ryan Sorba. Ryan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Ryan, this is shocking. I mean, that's not even the worst of the video. We don't want to broadcast what's the absolute worst part. But a couple thoughts I have when I watch this. First of all, we did have to beep it out because it's very vulgar, but the abusers screamed F Donald Trump, F white people while they were torturing this man. The White House came out after this happened and said that it's too soon for them to tell if this was a hate crime. Ryan, I don't understand what other proof they could possibly need.
Well, you know, Liz, it's already been charged as a hate crime, according to the Cook County District Attorney. And so Obama was wrong, the White House was wrong in saying that it's too early to call this a hate crime. It definitely was. Look, this is the second time that something like this has happened in Chicago, where crooked Hillary supporters are beating up, they carjacked a 50-year-old man. In that instance, back in November, they ended up going to jail for felonies. And in this case, I'm afraid that these individuals, Jordan Hill, Tesfaye Cooper, Brittany and Tanisha Covington, may be attempting to be martyrs to create copycats. That's what I'm scared of. And so I think the media and the courts need to deal with these individuals harshly. I think that they should throw the book at them. They're being charged with aggravated assault. It carries with it a sentence of between 6 and 30 years. I think the courts should give them 30 years. They're charging them with a hate crime, possibly even terrorism. And then, when Donald Trump is out of office in 8 years, maybe they can be up for parole. But apparently they can't handle Trump in office. So I think they should throw the book at him and make a big statement about this so that it doesn't happen again.
Right. I absolutely agree. I think there's multiple charges that they deserve to face. They need to see their day in court here. Kidnapping, domestic terrorism, torture. It's absolutely despicable here. But I want to go back to something you said, and that's the media treatment of this as well, the court of public opinion, if you will. If you looked at the headlines this morning when this news was breaking, Ryan, it was absolutely shocking. There was not one mention of race. There was not one mention of a hate crime. There was not one mention of the fact that they said F Donald Trump or F white people. I mean, some of the headlines just said teens torture special needs man. That's not all there was to this incident.
Right. The left-wing media and the college campuses have blatantly been using the, quote, white man as a scapegoat now for years. And this is the kind of thing that can end up happening when you blame all the problems a society has on one group of individuals. It's not fair, it's not true, and you end up having young people that grow up living amidst this narrative acting out this way. And it's not okay. Intimidation, terrorism of your political enemies in America is never okay. And I don't care if you're white doing it to black people doing it to white. It is not okay. It needs to stop. The city of Chicago should be embarrassed by these actions of these individuals within their city and their murder rates. It's embarrassing, and they need to get a hold of what's going on in their area and in their schools and in their towns. It's ridiculous.
Right, and I think the hypocrisy here from the left is quite telling. I mean, the left are the ones that have been telling us the last year when Donald Trump was running for president that hate crimes are on the rise from coast to coast, that everywhere we look, Muslims are targeted, Hispanics are targeted, gay people are targeted, black people are targeted by police. They're the ones who've made their siren call hate crimes. Yet when we see this hate crime, because it was a hate crime instigated by black people against a white man, they just brush it under the rug. They just lump this in and say, yes, it was a crime. It was terrible. It made me sick to watch it. But let me tell you about all these other hate crimes from the past. To me, that's despicable.
Right. I agree with you 100%. There is a double standard. And, you know, implied in this crime is the bogus claim that, like, Donald Trump's a racist. They're, you know, insinuating that because, you know, this individual is a white Trump supporter that he's a racist. And that is not at all the case with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not a racist. Donald Trump has appointed Ben Carson, Omarosa. He's got all kinds of different ethnicities that have worked for him for years. He's treated them wonderfully. And, you know, the mainstream media at some point has got to stop, and they've got to look and be accountable for the things that they say and do on TV. And if they're, you know, we've had 8 years of Obama, and it seems like, you know, with the Black Lives Matter issues and these issues here happening in Chicago, race relations are at an all-time low. And it's unfortunate, and we don't want that, and we want to improve race relations. So I think we need to move forward from here and look at how we can unite the country.
Right. And I think another point is that cities would be on fire right now if this were the reverse. If these were right Republicans who were saying F Hillary Clinton and saying anti-black things, racist things, you know, there would be riots in our streets. We've seen that. We saw that in Charlotte. The left has been the ones who have not wanted to wait for the facts, not wanted to wait for the investigations whenever we've had a police-involved shooting or a racial incident. Yet now, because the instigators were black and the victim was white, they're the ones. The White House is the one that said, you know, let's wait and see. Let's not assume this has anything to do with race. The superintendent of Chicago himself said, you know, kids make stupid mistakes sometimes. This is not a mistake to me, Ryan.
I agree with you. I mean, these individuals were all over 18. 3 of them were 18. 1 of them was 24. They are completely responsible for their actions. What they did was racist. It was detrimental to democracy. They're terrorists, homegrown domestic terrorists. They're attempting to, you know, call people names like racist when it's not true. I think that the courts need to throw the book at these individuals, and I think that they need to make an example of them so that this is definitely not mimicked around the country.
And it doesn't matter their age. Their age is irrelevant here. The fact that the police superintendent said kids make stupid mistakes. I don't know anyone who mistakenly tortures someone. This is not a mistake. This is a premeditated action. And like you said, they need to be held accountable for it, or race relations in our country, I think, are going to get much worse. Ryan, we're out of time, but thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, you know the drill. Talk to me. Tweet Liz_Wheeler. You know I read all your tweets, and we'll meet you back here in just a minute.